So our first thing is the startup guide. I'm just going to share the screen on what the one looks like for Victory Heights. And all I did was made it really specific to my hub. So my thinking is, let's just go through this. I'll tell you what I was thinking, and then I'll send the document out and you can modify it to suit your needs if it makes any sense to you at all. Maybe the startup guide, the way it is perfect. What I've found when I ask people to help me set up the hub is they get really engaged in the small stuff. And then I'm having to ask people to put things away, like put the forms away, put the pens down. No, we don't need dry erase markers right now. So people want to get into the small stuff before we're ready for it. So I just thought, man, if I could figure out a way to get everybody on the same sheet of music, that would help a lot. So we just had
Anne, question.
yes.
So this is not a replacement for the quick start guide. What I'm seeing here is this the detailed steps of set it up first as part of the overall picture of what's in the startup guide, or are you going to replace it?
Mine is replaced.
Okay. Okay, now I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, you could do it either way. I just kind of took the startup guide the way it was and fleshed it out a little bit more.
Okay.
So for the folks that just joined us again, I'm sorry I didn't send out the right link, but I'm glad you're all here, and we're just going through the startup guide first. So this is what I've done for my hub, and I did it because people didn't pull things out in an order that made it manageable, honestly. So for me, step one is just figure out if the site where we're going to set up is safe. I did laminate a hub map, and I can show you that later. I'm lucky enough that I have a tennis court, so I have really clear boundaries of where I'd like to set up. Most people don't have that, and it's probably a little more free-flowing. But having a tennis court with a fence line, and hopefully the tennis court is somewhat usable, and hopefully the fence is somewhat upright so we can use it to hang stuff off of. So I have printed up a map of where I think things ought to go. And then I did a little, sorry, these are not ordered correctly, but I did a little safety brief. Just, there's no rush, pull out the hardscape only. This is what I was talking about before, is pull out the important stuff, the big stuff now, and then worry about the little things, the magnets, the pens, the paper, all that kind of stuff later. I don't need to read it because it's very specific to our hub. But if somebody didn't know what they were doing, I think they could at least read off these tasks and tell people to do something so that things would get done in an orderly manner. That's all I was really going for. Send the orange bucket of supplies to the volunteers, put the chairs here, put the forms on that table. And then we get into what's more typical of the quick start guide, which is start figuring out who's going to do your jobs. And I just did likes to organize. Oh, good. Make them the resource manager. If they've got some urban survival skills, oh, good. Make them the educator. And then here was the keep in mind, don't throw anything away. Everybody is a potential volunteer. There are many, many resources available in your community. Don't be afraid to ask for them. Don't forget about bikes. It certainly helps to have folks on bikes. We can get more done in less time. Never send volunteers out in the community by themselves. Always send them in teams. And then if it makes sense, don't allow neighbors to drop off supplies here because overnight storage is too much work. I took pictures of what our hub looks like when it's set up. And then you guys are all familiar with this, just the hub operation roles.
You're going to drop that in there as a template. And then if people want to use that template, they've got it good. If people just want to use the original quick start guide we sent up. So how will you name that template so we all know to steal that one? Like think of a way to describe it, 2022 reorganized or something like that.
Yeah.
And then
quick start guide 2022.
Just watch it occasionally to make sure somebody didn't accidentally take your template and turn it into theirs, and we need to re-upload another template. So
yeah.
Thank you.
Packing your hub box. So one of the things I'm realizing, and you guys probably know this already, those tables do not fit well. I ended up having to put my table down on the floor. Here's a picture. I pulled everything out of my hub today and repacked it, but I had my canopy here in the very back on the very bottom. And so it's no wonder that everybody was pulling everything out to get to the canopy. So I thought, oh, I'll move the canopy to the front. But there's not enough room for this. I don't know how to explain it. I tried, the canopy fits here, but then I can't put the two tables that I do have standing up because of this sloped lid. So anyway, I ended up putting my tables on the ground and then actually put the canopy in the front at a slant. It's really wonky. I'm not happy with it, but you know, it is what it is at the moment. So any comments or thoughts about how you packed your box? I know we have a couple different size boxes.
Just wanted to comment that I thought your photograph would be a cool thing to have actually in the box so people know how to pack and unpack it and where things are.
Yeah, if I get this figured out better, I will probably do that, because yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Especially if, you know, we're packing up every single night kind of thing.
Right.
Agenda item number 3 is smoothing out your hub activation, labeling, and other pre-work. And I know there's a couple hub captains on the line now that are working on this kind of stuff. Let me just show you one thing and then I'll turn it over to you guys. So I'm big on pre-labeling, just because I don't want to do much at the time. This is the information manager. When I first got these vests, I asked a neighbor to write Victory Heights on them, and then got smart and went, oh yeah, I really ought to put the title of the name. So we have stencils to do this if you're interested. I did this in front of the TV, you know, over a night or two with just black magic markers. So the stencils are shifting around within, you know, amongst the hub captains. So just yell if you want them and we'll get them to you.
One of the things that our hub has done this last month is we have settled on a hanging shoe bag as our, in the resource manager, the volunteer coordinator, and the medical coordinator. So we're going to have 3 big stations. We'll have all the other jobs too, obviously. And so we're going to use hanging shoe bags. And so we labeled the shoe bags. If there's the resource manager, and one of these shoe bags has all the topic, you know, the category is on the left, and then it's have need. So you put your have pieces of paper down in a have pocket, and if it's a need, you put it in a need pocket. And once you've matched it, somebody comes and they get their stuff and they're happy. You take the 2 of them and you put them behind the label, because that's a pocket. So you just, but nobody would see it.
Like
so
back
that
there.
is the way that at the end of the night, now admittedly, you could run out of space, blah, blah, blah. And so we've labeled about 3 of these per station. So we've already got the categories, and they have the have need columns. And so there's 3 of those bags for each of the stations, with an additional bag that has all the have need already labeled, and then empty, you know, there are no categories, so that you can add them, because of course you're going to add them. And boy, it sure would be easy to change them. See, if you decide that flashlights and headlamps is stupid, nobody's bringing you those, nobody needs them, you rip that out and put something you think would be neat, because it's just a little 5x7 card. So that's what we're going to practice with this summer when we do our first drill. So we're thinking it's not only the organization, some help with pre-labeling most of the categories, and it's storage. So at the end of every day, you just cut those things off and fold them up and put them in the box.
I think that's genius. And when Sarah asked me about it, she said her hub volunteers were excited to get this done. And Sarah's like, you know, what if we pick the wrong categories, or, you know, what if it doesn't work out? And I'm like, man, if your hub volunteers are excited to do something and it's not the worst idea ever, go with it. Let them run with it. Let them own it. it, you know, she's not doing anything permanent here. It can always be changed, but yeah, I was very excited for Sarah when she said her volunteers were eager to get going on this. So good on you. Okay.
Sarah, I wonder if you want to mention what we're currently working on in terms of quick start kits for each station.
I know, sorry about that, a bit of a hub captain tyranny. Anne has shared her quick start with us, and we have the roles that are described in the database. So we took those, and what we're doing is methodically going through. We've written a quick start that will be right inside the box. That's for the hub captain, right? Hub manager, because that's the first person that's opening it up. So they open it up and they see what they're supposed to do initially. So it's like, you're going to set up a couple of the station, you know, depending on how many are there, you're going to set up. So there's a couple of, you're going to get the big stuff up and out. Then after that, you as the hub manager are going to dole out the jobs. And when you dole out the jobs, you're going to be able to tell the person to go in and get your bag or your box that says educator, or it says information manager. And in that, you'll have everything you need. And you take it to your station. Now you go over there and you take, because it's going to be a lot of chaos. You go over to your station and set it up. Whether it's one of the big stations or whether it's, you know, educator, message taker, you'll have everything. You'll have your label and your jacket. And so, any questions? We'll share it, obviously. We've done 2, and we're going to do 2 more next week, and then we'll just keep going until we're done.
Do
All right.
people have solutions for like flexible or reusable labels for the vests? You know, like pre-labeling them seems like a great idea, but I guess it would be hard to know who is available, and you know, you wouldn't want to give somebody the wrong vest. That would just be worse than having them unlabeled, I think.
We had talked about having those large, almost like binder plastic sleeves pinned onto the vests where you could change the labels of the vest, of the role or of the person, and maybe even some quick phrases about what this person can help you with. We haven't done anything with that, but it's been an idea we've floated.
Okay.
The issue we've been wrestling with, and Sarah, I missed the last part of our last meeting, but is we can't guarantee the actual hub manager, designated hub manager, will be the first person to show up and start to set things off. So we're assuming that as we get a little bit more experience under our belt, we'll practice rotating all those roles so that whoever shows up first, at least for the interim, is the hub manager, whether it's the person who's been in that role, that we've done enough practice of moving around through the different roles. Am I explaining that right, Sarah?
I guess I would like to just comment both on Anne's point that she may not be there, and Margie's point that we need to all practice all the roles. But the reality is it may be none of us that are there. And so the way the hub box is labeled and the information that's sort of helping, that the quick start part is for anybody who opens the box. And we put our key, not only the hub volunteers have a key, but the hardware store has a key. And he said, you can break my window if you need to get in and get the damn key.
Wow.
So I know where the key is. So I guess I love this quick start idea, because I think we may be some novice, some person new to it, maybe just quick starting themselves.
I don't know if Anne was going to tell the story of what we just spent 2 days doing, but we just did 4 Hub 101s with 9th graders. And
Like
we had
100
night-
kids.
I think it was an hour and a half. I mean, God, it felt forever, but you know, an hour and a half. And we did 3 hub rounds where every round kids changed vests, changed jobs, new actors. And we did not have a hub manager. We just sort of, Anna and I were running it. But when we ended each class, we said, you guys are now practically able to run a hub. You've seen how everything works. You watched us, you know, do these scenarios and talk about why it should go maybe this way or both ways, and they all looked at us like, we believe you, you know,
Yeah.
we understand what you're saying to us now. And so every time you take people through your exercises, if you can get them as they're leaving and thanking them for the day, say, you're one of our key people now. You didn't know that, but you've just been trained to understand how this hub works. And, you know, if you're the first person here, break the window and open it up, and then somebody will come eventually who can help you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we felt really
Absolutely.
good that the system seems to work. You know, you know, it'll be messy maybe if you're not there, but intuitively people are going to go, oh, that's right. We're supposed to help people. We're supposed to put information up. So,
Yeah, they'll get it.
yep. So the quick start guide being there, when they open it up, they'll go, oh, thank you, God, Sarah and team, you did so good. So
Yeah.
you're bulletproofing it.
I just wanted to say that we do the lanyards in addition to some of the labeling, and actually the people find that really helpful to have around their neck. A 3x5 card that lists the maybe 5 top responsibilities of your job. And that's easy to do with a Ziploc bag and a string or something. And people find it really helpful.
Nice.
There's a
Yeah.
preset, there's a set of those in the Hub Captain's tools thing. They're badge
Oh.
size, so they would fit in your typical lanyard, and it's got, you know, the 5 key points for every role. And you guys can modify all you want, but you know, use it as a template if you like it.
The next thing on the agenda is Hub 101 training. So I'm glad Cindy's here because we haven't done a whole lot of thinking about this, but I think what we're going to, well, I know what we're going to do. We're going to do a lot of the training with the entire group. And then we're going to break off into, we're going to put you guys into breakout rooms so that you can practice. So we'll do some scenarios as a group and we'll talk through it, kind of just like what we did with these 9th graders today. And then once you kind of know what you're doing, we're going to send you off into your own Zoom breakout rooms, and everybody in that room will get a different role. And Cindy, the magician behind the scenes, is going to make sure that there's, you know, as close to 12 people maybe in a room as we can get. If your hub shows up together, or 2 hubs show up together and you have 12 people, that would be like perfect to put you 2 in the same room. Can group you guys together. So as much as possible, you get to play with the folks that you would actually be activating with. So we'll go through some scenarios, and then we may or may not pull people back into the main room. We probably will, and just ask for feedback and that kind of stuff. So that's how that is going to run. I've sent out the agenda. We're going to try and keep it, you know, as reasonably short as we can, mostly because we think it's super intuitive.
What is the date?
Sorry, yeah, there was lots of confusion over that. It's Thursday, March 17th.
I thought I saw that it was for 35 spots. Are you saying that your hub steering committee is invited to come to this Hub 101? Is that
Yes,
what-
absolutely.
great.
Cindy and I talked today, and we think we can handle as many folks as can show up.
Well, that's fabulous. Super.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, if we
So
have
I
12
will-
people in each breakout room, that, you know, we can run easily 4 breakout rooms, not a problem.
Yeah. So that number 35 was just a number I threw in there. If we start filling up, I will just increase the number of slots.
Okay,
But
great.
yeah, you can invite anybody in your community that has any kind of an interest in a hub. Absolutely. And the Hub 101 will be recorded, so you might be able to play it later if it makes any sense. I'm not sure how. Yeah, it'll make sense.
How long is it gonna last?
I have it down for an hour and 20 minutes.
So an hour and a
That's-
half.
That's
And
moving
then-
fast.
I'm not gonna be able to make it, and neither is my co-captain. So,
Okay.
but sounds like maybe we should go ahead and send it out. And if our, some of our volunteers show up, you guys can handle them.
If we
Yeah.
can handle 9th graders, man, not a problem.
Yeah. It was an interesting 2 days.
Okay, thanks.
Any other Hub 101 questions?
And I think, you know, what we haven't been, Ann and I haven't been able to do is have a big enough meeting where we've practice putting in people in workout rooms. So I'm going to tell everybody now, I'm going to set up our next deep dive so that when we finish the deep dive, I'm going to ask people to stay on and will give me one practice run at putting people in breakout rooms and see if I lose you into oblivion or something like that. So that I'm glad you talked about that today, Ann, so that we can, I'll put that on the agenda of the deep dive.
Excellent. Okay. Any other Hub 101 questions? All right. We have one more topic on the agenda. You're welcome to stay if this is of any interest to you. If you're not a big radio person, then our feelings won't get hurt if you disappear. But Christian is on the phone. Christian Helfrich is the North Sector ACS person. I think, Christian, you're North Sector, right? Not just Northeast?
No, Northeast. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I promoted you.
Yeah. That's
So Christian and I are talking about how can we send information over GMRS radio waves. Yeah, so I have a GMRS radio and I want to get information in a digital format. So I don't have to listen and write. I want to get information digitally. And you can do that. I can't send information using my GMRS radio, but I can receive it. So I've downloaded some software on my computer and I'll show you what it looks like.
and one
Let me
quick
share.
correction, Ann. It's we have to send it over ham radio waves. I had ham frequencies.
Yep.
But your GMRS radio can tune into those and receive them.
I'm just going to hold my radio up to the computer and it's going to hear this weird dial-y tone kind of message. And you'll see it on the screen, receive the message that Christian is sending me digitally.
So, Ann, we do need to be on a ham frequency. And if you want to tune, why don't you tune your radio? If you want to turn it on to frequency, the VFO mode, onto frequency mode.
Okay.
And then why don't you dial in 441-000.
What was it?
441.000.
Okay, I'm good to go.
All right. I'm going to send a quick digital message. Stand by. All right. So I'm going to, and just real quickly, so this is free software that ham radio operators use to send digital messages, and it's a lot like fax or an old dial-up modem. It's FLDigi. It stands for Fast Light Digital. And one of the things that sort of prompted Ann and I having this conversation was a discussion about the likelihood that welfare checks and just, having lists of people who've been accounted for and who want someone to know, like, I'm okay, I'm at this location, that ends up being a lot of disaster response. And this was particularly, I'd known this from reading some prior articles in books, particularly a really excellent book by Rebecca Solnick, Paradise Built in Hell. But it really came home to me when I read a book about the 1960, I can't remember what it is, 1962, 1964 earthquake in Alaska. And if you remember, that occurred in the late spring. So there was snow on the ground, horrendous temperatures, and Anchorage was absolutely devastated. And one of the biggest roles that ended up getting played by those providing community service was actually a radio, a commercial radio station and radio operator, a woman named Jeannie Chance. And she spent a lot of time just on the radio reporting things and letting people know what was going on. And a big part of what she did was read names over the air of people who were missing, and as the disaster unfolded, people who were accounted for. And that was one of the biggest services that they ended up playing was people just wanted to know who was where. And anyway, it was sort of in that context that, you know, Ann and I were talking about being able to send out information. And obviously it's not just welfare checks, you know, there are other potential uses for being able to send information out that y'all could receive lists of, but that was definitely one, because they literally spent just hours reading names over the air in Anchorage. Anyway, so that was kind of, you know, that's part of my, you know, part of what motivates my thinking here. Yeah. K7XDN transmitting a digital message. And here we go. Kilo 7 X-ray Tango November, finished transmitting, clear. All right. And so, so what, you know, what Ann just received was this digital message in a particular, you know, one sort of digital format that we use. But what you see on the screen there is the message as she's receiving it. The software she's got has also essentially saved a copy of it in a formatted form in one of the forms that the incident command system, that's the system that FEMA uses around disaster preparedness, the incident command system, and it actually saved it in a ICS, incident command system form. That's just a common message form, and the convenience with this is the information can be sent much more robustly. So the message that I just sent Ann actually included, yeah, and here's so what Ann's opening up right here is a little pop-up window that has the formatted message, and she'll click view. It produces this nice formatted message. The big advantage is with the software, all of the nice formatting was already on Ann's side in the computer. So that's, you know, that information doesn't have to be transmitted. So just the unique content of the message gets transmitted, and then the software on Ann's computer puts it together in a nice format that can be printed, for example. The other thing with the message is, just like Ann said, you know, like receiving detailed information, you're trying to listen, you're trying to write. The digital message I just sent actually included duplicate information. So all of this information is actually sent multiple times, and it's sort of interspersed over the course of the digital message. So if there's a bit of static or interference or something, there's a good chance that the information will get through anyway. So that's sort of some of the big advantages of this, using this kind of format. Anyway, yeah, we wanted to share it. It's kind of interesting. There are definitely challenges, and we don't want to, you know, sort of overlook those, understate them. But yeah, just wanted to share that.
So any questions about, I don't know, what you just saw?
Say at the beginning you can't reply. I'm looking at the form and it has reply. So this would stop there.
Well, because I'm listening on a GMRS radio, I cannot reply. If I was listening on a ham radio, I could.
I think we've heard about this before, and so I think it's actually really good to hear about it again. Just helps me think about it. So it sounds like we need a computer. It's not something that a smartphone can pick up in terms of having an app. You have to have a physical computer.
Actually, no. You are
Phones and
correct,
tablets.
Gabrielle. There are apps that will that will do this. I've not used them myself. Yeah, Matt, have you used one of the phone or tablet apps?
No, but I know they exist, and really any device that has a microphone and speaker or a microphone, because it's really just taking the sound that you're hearing and decoding it. So yeah, no special.
Because we're going to
hardware
be
needed.
standing there with 20 people that have phones, and we might not have anyone that has a computer where the battery is charged. So that's why I'm thinking about that. So that might be something worth investigating, especially like I just got a new phone, so I have an old phone. So my own phone could, you know, I keep intending to download all the Google language translates on it, you know, to use it for some of the hub uses that where I know I can use it. But I haven't done that, but that would be something great. So my second question is basically what we're doing, whether it's a computer or a phone, we're physically holding the radio up to that device and the sound is floating through the air into the device. We're not using a wire or some connection we're going to lose. I just want to get clear on that. Is that
Yeah,
right? Ann?
that's exactly right. Yeah,
Okay.
and Gabrielle, obviously, it is possible to do a wired connection, but one of the beautiful things about this is that it is, you know, it's actually robust enough that you can just hold the radio up to the speaker. I mean, up to the microphone.
A wire would be great, but if we don't have to make sure you've got the right wire. Right.
Totally.
Can't find a wire, it doesn't fit on the new smartphone, whatever the issue is. So, okay, thank you very much, Christian. This is really good.
Yeah, totally.
Any
And
other questions about sending information digitally?
The FL mean again?
Fast light.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fast
that's
light
the-
digital. Yeah, so that computer software, it's a little bit, it's a little confusing, you know, as all stuff radio is. The Fast Light Digital is one. It's the main piece of software, but it's actually just one piece of software that freeware that's been put together for sending digital messages via ham radio and for the purposes of emergency preparedness. It's part of the overall group of software is called narrowband emergency messaging software, NBEMS. And I can send and you know I'll send a just a brief message to summarize that.
You know, the key thing about this is just like our goal with using GRMS in the first place, so that you didn't have to have pre-licensed people, you know, who didn't, you know, studied for the test and passed the test. Anybody can hold those two things together and let them couple, you know. It's just getting the training in their heads and brains, or making the OJT bulletproof enough so that anybody in your hub could do it. I'm sure if we found enough 15-year-olds, we could do FLDigi all over the city.
And
then-
having the software already deployed so that
Yeah.
Well,
Like I-
Gabrielle's idea was brilliant, because
Yeah.
we
That is
talked
really-
to the kids about downloading the languages ahead of time. Just one more thing, and we all go, everybody put your used cell phone in here so that at least one of them we can recharge.
Yep. And power is probably going to be an issue. Having enough power to, to keep my laptop charged up or a printer. It'd be, it's lovely to see this on a computer screen. It'd be more convenient to actually have it printed out.
Ron has a printer that can run off a diesel, anybody's generator now. It can run off batteries and it can run off the generator. So,
well, if you just want that, one tip would be you could buy a receipt printer. Just buy a used receipt printer. Those don't take too much power to run. And
Oh, Matt,
They
can you
print
send a
text
link or
pretty quick.
something? I don't even know what a receipt printer is, but
I could find one.
that's interesting.
Just like you'd have at the grocery store. They connect internally with USB.
They're
you can
they're
just-
so skinny. I want my 8.5 by 11 ICS 213.
I mean, that
your
is,
ticket, it's like a restaurant chef.
Oh.
Your
yeah,
next
just
ICS
have little
13.
messages coming out one at a time.
it is kind of funny in that it would be, just formatting, somewhat challenging. But that is a great idea because, just thinking about what's the most efficient, Like what's a super efficient way, and being able to print stuff out, it would be huge. Being able to print out a list, or the, instructions for, it's time to boil water or whatever, and be
And
able
in
to just
multiple
post it.
languages.
Yeah.
And in multiple languages, yeah.
Okay, thanks you guys for showing up. This has all been recorded and I'll clean up the recording and put it out so more folks can learn what we talked about.